What's up guys, welcome back to yet another acoustic R&B and Neo Soul guitar lesson. Get ready to learn a super cool and jazzy smooth chord progression and also learn something more about the harmony, what's the theory behind this chord progression and how I come up with chord progressions like this. As always, let's get started understanding the chords that I'm playing. So I'm starting from a G major 9. Okay, we are in the key of G major. I will just say this for now about the theory. We are in the key of G major, first chord, G major 9. I start without my little finger, so effectively what you hear would be a G6 9. To be fair, I'm only thinking about these three strings first, so you might wonder like, well, if you don't include this, now why do you call it G6 9 or G major 9? Well, effectively, because although I start with these three strings and I also do the hammer-on, the usual hammer-on, typical embellishment on Neo Soul with the little finger, I then want to be free, if I like, to actually hit the B string on its own, okay, like that, okay, and then continue with single plaque arpeggios on the same chord. So in case I want to play that, I like to have this ninth ready. So I don't prepare only 3 strings, I actually prepare 4 strings and I do this hammer on with the little finger before playing percussion and a couple of notes of the arpeggio. Then the next chord that you need, guys, is an F sharp minus 7 flat 5. This chord, the minus 7 flat 5, is also called half diminished, so we can say F sharp half diminished, which then moves to a B flat, actually B7 altered, but this one is a B7 altered with a sharp 5 in this case. I'm not playing this first string, so it doesn't have the flat 9, but if you like to play it, feel free to do it, and you would be playing a B7 sharp 5 flat 9. What I like to do is just this position. You've seen me playing this already on the channel. It's a 7th chord, you know, with the sharp 5 rather than the perfect 5th. And this leads me to the next chord, which is E minor 9, a chord that I really love. I first played like this and then I stretched my little finger to actually include the 5th of the chord on the first string, like this. Final 2 chords we need, A minor 7 extended to the 9, so A minor 9, and D7, this time flat 9, so D7 flat 9. Now when I play this, I also take off the root and I, in this way, describe a diminished 7th chord, which is an F sharp diminished 7 chord, which, like any other diminished 7 chord, you can slide 3 frets across to an A diminished 7 chord and you're still playing the same chord. It's effectively a D7 flat 9, rootless, okay? So recap of the chord positions just to get ready to understand what's behind this chord progression. Like I said, G major 9 or G6 9, which then becomes a G major 9, then F sharp half diminished, B7 sharp 5, E minor 9, okay, then A minor 7 extended to the 9th, so A minor 9, D7 flat 9, which then becomes an F sharp diminished 7th into an A diminished 7th. Hopefully these chord positions make sense, guys, and now let's try to understand what's behind this chord progression, how I actually come up with chord progressions like this, because this is one of the questions that you always ask me. So in a case like this, I actually started from G major as a key, so G major 9, G major 7 is the 1, and then all I wanted to do was reaching out, you know, the 6, the 6 minor of the key, which is an E minor 7, which I like to play with the extension, so it becomes an E minor 9. But in order to go from 1 to 6 minor, I went through the 2-5 of that 6 minor. So I played F sharp diminished, F sharp minor 7 flat 5 or F diminished, which is the 2 of the E that I'm going to, and the B7 altered, which is the 5 altered of the chord that I'm going to. So 2-5 of the E minor. Okay, this happens all the time in jazz, but also in soul music. Okay, guys. So you can think of this F sharp half diminished like the 7 half diminished of the key, and this would be a 3-7 altered because B is the 3 in this key. And you can think of it this way, it's absolutely identical. However, if you want to understand how I came up with these 2 chords, the reason is I want to reach this chord and I want to reach that pretending this is the 1, and therefore I will do the 2-5 of that 1. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. The final two chords are the actual 2-5 of the key. In the key of G major, the 2 is an A-7, okay, and the 5 is a D7. I'm just spicing this up a little because I want to make it more jazzy, and therefore the D7 becomes a D7 flat 9 to create more tension, and when I take off the root, again, that's an F sharp diminished 7th into an A diminished 7th, and for that reason it sounds a little bit more neo soul, I guess. Okay, so that's how I came up with these chords. It's literally a turnaround, a 1-6-2-5. 1, 6, okay, 6, 2, 5. Let's do it again. 1 is my starting point. 6, 2, 5. So the basic version of this would be, 1, 6, 2, 5. Very typical, very classical of jazz music, but literally any genre in modern music. And then I spiced it up, doing 1, 2, 5 of the 6, 6, then 2, 5, with embellishments, back to G. Okay. Now let's talk about the arrangement of this chord progression, now that we understand the chord progression. Well, I really think about a mix of chords, so harmony, together with the rhythm that I want to give to these chords, so the length, for instance, the use of the percussions with my thumb, but also embellishments which describe actual melodies. So when I start here, this is already a sort of initial melody, which then continues with the other notes of the G, okay? Guys, remember that you find a tab in music notation of this chord progression on my pattern, so you can see note by note which string I'm hitting. And after this initial, arpeggio, I then move to F sharp -7, and I like to do a 4-note arpeggio, like do-do-do-da. I like to hear all of the notes of this chord, okay? And then I go here and I pluck this chord all together, these 4 strings all together, and I stop them as quick as I can because I want to get that staccato feel. Okay, so they're all together sounds like... Okay, then when I reach the E-7, I can either do an arpeggio, okay, and then a strum, okay, or I can do a pluck and then the strum. Okay. On the A-7, A-9, I like to pluck and hear that extension before my percussion, and then I go to my D7 flat 9. So again, a short sound, a staccato, to then do the typical neo soul move, slide of 3 frets of the diminished 7th chord. Okay, but like I said, I think of this as a melodic approach. I would say as a melody which I described with the chords. Okay, so melodies and chords are really very much connected. So I think of this as a conversation, like talking to somebody and asking questions and waiting for answers. So I start like, but then I go like, okay, it literally talks to me. Okay, it's almost a confirmation of what I was saying with the G, okay? Okay, but then on the E-9, I like to think of it differently. Okay, I like to which is very relaxing to me. It almost sounds like a resolution. But then I think of somebody screaming, really putting the passion in what you're playing, so... And that's where I really hit the strings louder, and I like to strum them and hear the first string as well, so like that. Okay, so again, back, and then, and then on the next part I like to go a little bit more groovy, like almost like a question, with the answer in the next chord coming, okay, like a real conversation between two people. Okay, so again, like okay, almost like an introduction. This introduces the conversation, but then a development of this conversation goes into do, and then the part which gets a little bit more, a little bit louder, okay? Somebody that you know, tries to build up again the tension, and then you know, you can resolve, you can go anywhere you like. Once you get effectively this resolves on a G, even if you play the G like that. Okay, so that's how I think of these chords, how I come up with progressions like this, and that's also the harmonic analysis, how we analyze the chords and the chord numbers of this chord progression. As you know guys, I always like to explain what's the theory behind these chord progressions, because if you like these chord progressions, you can play them as they are. Or once you understand the theory, you can change them a little, you can move them to different keys, you can make them your own chord progressions. Right guys, so hopefully everything makes sense. Again, if you want to see note by note which string I'm hitting, you can find the tab on my Patreon page. Get in touch in the comments if you have any questions guys, or reach me out on Instagram. You find all of my contact details in the description of this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.